This is a short example of what a foreman goes through when he actually opens and closes out an appointment. Now I'm looking at this on a desktop laptop screen, but it scales very well and it's intended to be used on an mobile device, phone or tablet. So the first thing to notice is it's kind of like we're at the end of the day here and I just have one appointment left. And this is actually just for the main lawn care crew. Now I've taken my username, and one of the cool things is that we can see the main lawn care has the foreman, Jane Smith, and if I just go look at Jane Smith, I've associated my username with that employee. So I'm acting like I'm Jane Smith at the moment, and of course this is just the view she'd get all the time. But this is her foreman day screen, and here there's just one appointment left for today. So she could hit, okay, start travel. She'd do that at the end of the prior job. I'm going to go back. Now for a second I'm just going to update that and bump that back a little bit to the past so that it's a little bit more meaningful as I do this example. So I'm just going to bump that back to about 350. And we see that there. And then I go and start my job. When I arrive at the location, same thing, just telling me what needs to be done. Now I'm going to also update that too and bump that a little bit back just so I can do this demo in a few seconds and say, okay, well I got there at 4:02. So I had 12 minutes of drive time. Could be hours, could be minutes. Now's the exciting part where I go through closing out the job. So looking at the screen real quick, when was the appointment? I can click here, go directly to the appointment. Current status at job, you might have noticed that change a moment ago from en route to at job. What the site is, and I can click on that, drill down. I already showed you that I can click on the crew to see the detail. Now most foremen will just see the crews that they are a foreman of. Lots of crewmen are just going to have a single crew, but it definitely supports the opportunity for a foreman to manage multiple crews. If you're an administrator, you see everything. But I can go on break. You can toggle the break on and off. If you're on a multi-day appointment or even just a long appointment, you might have a 20-minute break in the afternoon and you just click this. In fact, I'll show you. Everything goes on hold. You can't do anything while you're on break. And then they end the break, they're back on the work. And everything, timestamps, time is getting stored in the background for time reporting. But right now I'm going to go and end. And again, I bump those timestamps back just for the purpose of being able to do this demo in a very short period, but obviously there'd be a lot longer time intervals in real life because there's work to be done. So I'm going to start with end and get the first screen where it walks me through my time. Now the travel start, appointment start, and end all are defaulting to the values that were captured when I pressed those buttons, or in this case also updated them. A lot of the time the design is just to leave this as is. If you press the buttons check in, check out, you don't ever have to change anything here because you did it when you started that task. You can adjust them, do whatever you want, but it's designed to be, well, if you did everything right, there's nothing really for you to touch here. And then I go back down and it takes that data and gives me the detail for each employee. And again, in most cases, there's nothing to do here if you hit travel start, arrived at the job, and then obviously by virtue of getting to the screen you hit end at the correct times, there's nothing to do here, but you can do anything you want. Let's say that this employee took off and went to a different crew, had to go do something, I had to leave early for the afternoon. I can just zero him out because he wasn't at that appointment, and then save and move on to the tasks that I had to complete at that appointment. Now here it was, notice the last one was the appointment, now it's the work order. They're very closely related, but there's nothing set in stone that we have to have a single work order to a single appointment. We can have multiple appointments per work order designed for multiple days or multiple crews working on the work order at the same time. If you have a big project, put 2 crews, that's 2 different appointments, same work order. So here now we have all of our tasks: mow, edge, blow, repair, irrigation, and sow. Just random example tasks. And we have the ability to complete or not complete each item. And I'm going to go, okay, we completed mowing. We completed edging. We did not have anything that needed the gas blower. We just said no, not needed. And we enforce that anytime we choose do not complete, they have to choose a reason. Repair irrigation, now this task in the background has associated with it the requirement that we actually have to break out the actual hours we spent on that task. Have to do it, can't be zero. You either complete it at the end of the hours or you have to say you did not complete it. One or the other has to happen. So I'm just going to go 0.1 hours and then that last one. So really a workflow forcing the foreman to take a moment and record everything he did before he's allowed to close this. And I save that. So if this was the last appointment of the day, then we would potentially be on our way back to the shop to get ready for the next day. So we would go ahead and begin shop time, and it asks me which employees I want to do. I would again take out that one employee who took off early and say, okay, these two employees, and again, I'm Jane Smith, so I'm the foreman. I'm tracking my own time and the people in my crew. Hit save. You'll notice now we are on 0 hours, 0 minutes, just because it's rounding up and it's only been a couple seconds. This time would accrue. Let me go ahead and pause this for a second so you can see what it looks like. And we're back. So you can see now it says we were on for 2 minutes. Now in reality it probably takes a lot longer to get back to our shop and get ready, but when we get back we can then clock each individual person out. Maybe we clock Frank out as soon as we get back to the shop. Again, I'm Jane. I get my rig all ready for the next day, parked, gassed up, and later when I'm ready I clock out. And that's it for the day. Real quick, if we go home and take a look at our timekeeping, we can see we just closed that order there. And down here we can see that today we had Jane Smith and Frank Jessup. This is all the time. Just click on there, drill down to just today real quick. We can see everything. This was a earlier appointment, but we have, that's where we just were at, work 1.43. Actually no, I think that's all, they're just at Chester Meyer. 0.02, 0.47, and 2.6 hours for the day. Again, not realistic, but shows kind of the functionality of what's going on here. Same for Frank. And then all this data is here collected, and at the end of the week we can just suck it out into whatever form we need it for submitting payroll. So that's how we track the time, close the work orders out, and peek at what the time looks like when we are just looking at it here. Obviously you can see the shop time here, we talked about that, and then this form can be modified into whatever we need to make it most efficient to submit our payroll.